Business Brain, episode 782 for Wednesday, August 26th, National Dog Day 2026.
I love that. Love dogs.
Do you love dogs? Yeah,
I really do.
That's great.
Yep.
I do not.
I mean,
I like our dog, which is not always the case. I don't just like him.
I hunt with my dog, and it's one of the most enjoyable things I do to watch them perform. And she's like a pro athlete.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I love
it.
Yeah.
Our little Chihuahua mix that we have is Lisa. I mean, he's young. He's a year and a half or so, and Lisa is training him to be an agility dog. And I mean,
it's awesome.
He's a great little dog. I generally don't like the dogs that we have, but I just don't like dogs. They're just not my thing.
Sure.
I much prefer cats. They're so much better pets, in my opinion. I don't mean to say that as a universal truth. I know we all have
be confident.
Opinions.
You don't want to be timid.
I'm not being timid. I'm just being articulate.
I know. Yes, I got it. Yeah. Awesome.
Welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take some ideas, we crunch them, we dissect them, we use them to tune our business brains and level up our charmed lives. Our sponsors for this episode are hims.com/businessbrain, where you can go and get a personalized, affordable weight loss plan that will get you, including Wegovy at Hims, and go.fitnexa.com/brain, where you can get $10 off the SomniPods 3 sleep earbuds that both Shannon and I are really finding to be some of the best in class of these. It's really quite something. So we'll talk about those in more detail in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here in Northern California, I'm Shannon Jean. Happy to be here.
I had an interesting experience, Shannon. I went out to eat with my family, and I was looking in detail at the receipt that showed up at the table, mainly because this restaurant previously had let me pay with like a QR code, so I didn't have to wait for the exchange to happen.
I love that. Yeah.
Yep. Well, it stopped being there, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so I just was like looking at the receipt to see, like, am I missing something or whatever? And I saw something on there, and it said, join our loyalty program, all the things, blah, 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 blah. And then it said, it essentially asked the question, do you have feedback to share? And it said, whether it's a shout out, feedback, or a big idea, text our COO at, and it gave his number, and it says, yes, that's actually his real number.
I love that.
I love that. Like making yourself accessible to your customers. I mean, what a message this sends, right? Like they actually, and what's shocking to me is that it wasn't until retelling this encounter to you that I realized I should have, in the moment, and I still can and will, text him and tell him that I miss having the QR code on the thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
Why wouldn't I tell him this? They've literally asked for it. And I love that they've asked for it because they're going to be able to level up. Are they going to get, feedback from that maybe isn't so positive? Of course, and some that's positive and that's important. Fluff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's a great idea. Even if you use even if it's not his real cell number,
right?
But it's an automated, not automated where it's going to kick you back an instant reply, but something there you're capturing that data that then you can have some, follow up afterwards and thank them or give them a coupon code or something like that that they could use sometime. It really sends the right message, right? That
personalizes everything.
Personalizes everything. And you could do it in so many different ways. Remember that guy who used to put his social security number on the billboards or in the commercials? It was like I
forgot about that.
Yeah. It was crazy where it was LifeLock is what it was, right? And they were doing that stuff. But I mean, that's a little extreme. I don't suggest you do that, but it certainly got a lot of attention. And just like this gets a lot of attention, that'll be going out to tens of thousands of people that we talked about. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I love it. It's smart. And there's so many ways you could automate it now too, where it's personal. I mean, I think we are really, we're in it, but it's just going to get better and better. The age of personalization, that the the management of data is so much better now that we can treat our customers as individuals in so many more instances than we used to be able to.
When the reason that you and I wound up being introduced to each other was because you were a customer of Backbeat Media's.
Yep.
Right? You were buying on our websites. It was long before podcasts were even a thing. And I remember the first conversation that we had, and it was the reason I remember it was because it was something that we worked hard towards. You said something about, man, like you guys, I love what you do because you send me these automated reports every week about my ads progress, and it's super valuable to just get them in my inbox. I don't have to ask, and nobody else even has this information, and you just make it super easy. And I remember thinking, okay, great. It was validation of something that my business partner, Greg, and I had talked about years before. We started the business when you could be an idiot and make money on the internet. We were basically just order takers.
That doesn't work anymore? Damn.
No. Well, I mean, actually, no, it totally works. But, you have to get lucky in a sense, right? And we did, certainly. We started a business in the right thing at the right time. And we were order takers for like a year. And then the market fell out from underneath us. The whole, internet's like the stock market, the internet bubble burst in like 2001 or whatever it was. And, but thankfully we hadn't spent all the money that we had earned. And we realized that, okay, now that, our like the value of any given ad dropped by to less than half of what it was. And so it was like, okay, maybe this is what they're actually worth now. So that's a good thing, but we can't do it the way that we would have been able to do it with that money that was coming in before. And so what we did was we took the extra money that we had laying around and automated the crap out of everything that we could to preserve our time to spend interacting with people.
Yeah, I love it.
And we've always been doing that, but now technology has always made that possible. Technology continues to advance to where it's easier and easier for every business to do those kinds of things. And I think that's what you're saying here.
Yeah,
is that
that's exactly right.
This age of personalization is part of that you can personalize the stuff you're automating and then also just be personal with people. So,
yeah. And be able to, the data that you have about them, be able to use it in a really productive way that, I think was more difficult in years past. I think it's just a great way to connect.
Easier and easier. Yeah, no, yeah. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great. Yeah. Customers. We got to take care of our customers, and every business is the customer service business. And
got it.
The tech we have today makes that super possible. All right, we are going to talk about how to manage your flow when you lose a customer, or or
big customer.
And other things. Big customers, yeah. The next thing we're going to do is tell you about our sponsors. And look, entrepreneurs, we spend all year telling everybody the business is doing great. Then someone points a camera at us at a conference and we find out we've been running on gas station donuts for 11 months straight. Losing weight is one thing, but looking and feeling your best this summer, that's the real goal. And that's why Weight Loss by Hims now offers access to the FDA-approved Wegovy pill and Wegovy pen. Wegovy is designed to help you lose weight and keep it off so you can show up this summer feeling like yourself. What caught my attention is that this whole thing happens online. You connect with a licensed provider who determines if treatment is right for you, and if prescribed, it's delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary, and it doesn't stop there. 24/7 messaging with your care team, plus in-app lifestyle and nutrition support, recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content. You get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. That's the charmed life, not having to figure it out alone. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/businessbrain to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/businessbrain, hims.com/businessbrain. Weight Loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information and restrictions, visit hims.com. Go check it out. And our thanks to Hims for sponsoring this episode. And while we entrepreneurs are all in different businesses, one thing that we have in common is that we are professional skeptics. We've all bought the thing that was going to change everything and watched it end up in a drawer. So when I got SomniPods 3 from our sponsor Fitnexa, the first thing I did was ignore the sleep part entirely and run my usual earbud test playlist through them. And they sound amazingly good. I really didn't know what to expect from sleep earbuds, right? They're not marketed as music earbuds, but they sound really good. Then the part that actually matters, they're flat enough and small enough to fit in my ear the right way so that I can lie down directly on them. I'm a side sleeper, and for me, these stay comfortable with my head on the pillow. They knock down enough of the noise around me that I can actually wind down. Their app, however, is the real prize. The content is genuinely good, and getting to what you want takes about 2 seconds. Nobody wants to fight a menu at midnight, right? That's the charmed life, the boring infrastructure that quietly makes everything else work. I now track my pillow's performance quarter over quarter, and I think this quarter it's going to beat expectations. Fitnexa is giving you, our listeners, $10 off of their SomniPods 3. Head to go.fitnexa.com/brain, and the discount applies automatically. You can also use code BRAIN for $10 off. Make sure go.fitnexa.com/brain or click the link in the show notes. Get that $10 off, and our thanks to Fitnexa for sponsoring this episode. So, you lost a big, in a theoretical world.
No, it's a real world. I'm going to tell you a real world example.
Great.
I'm going to name names.
He's got receipts, folks, and they don't have the COO's number on them. That's right.
So I will tell you that I've had some giant customers buying like parts from me, repair parts, different things from one company to another. So companies like Circuit City, The Good Guys, Radio Shack, companies that at one time or another, all three of those companies were my number one customer.
Okay.
Buying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of components from us every single month, right?
Okay.
And one after another, they all disappeared. So there's a lot to break down about that. You could talk about, what happened? Why are they gone? But what I really want to talk about is how you sustain things, how you recover when you build up. Because it's not like they drop or they turn on the fire hose and they start giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of orders every month right away. You slowly build trust. You build credibility.
Yes,
they start nibbling a little bit. Can you fill this order? Yes. Can you fill this order? Here's a PO.
They give you a chance, and
they give you a chance.
You either deliver or you don't.
Yeah. So if you perform, they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So when that happens, well, you're like, wow, we need more people. Wow, we need more space. We need more inventory. And then one after another, each of those three companies imploded with not a ton of warning, but little signals. But I mean, I think when Circuit City when they closed, I had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of open purchase orders with them. Right. And so as a small business, you start freaking out. Like, not only do they owe me a bunch of money, which we were able to get paid for eventually, but I've got all these resources allocated to their account. And the worst thing about, in my opinion, about being a small business owner is having to lay people off. I hate that. I don't want that. It's awful, an awful experience. There is no, just let HR do it. You're always doing it.
No, you are HR. Yeah.
And so I think the key after it happened the first time, and I think it might've been Good Guys that went under. Yeah. We just really started watching for the signs of what would happen and bringing everybody into the conversation. So as we built up, let's say like our Circuit City business, and it grew and grew and grew, and it was wonderful for a number of years.
Sure.
We really communicated about, and I always say this, the only constant is change. So the team that managed that account, I often was like, hey, this is great. We want to take care of it, but there's a good chance that it's not going to last forever, right? There's a good chance that something is going to change, and either their requirements may change or whatever. So we need to be ready. And as you build out this parts business, or you're selling it, how do we add another level, or how do we stabilize it so if that customer disappears again, it doesn't, really hurt us or freak me out for 6 months, or, and everybody can, have something to do, right? Because if you lose that client that you're servicing. And what it turned out it did is it allowed us to start an entirely new parts division that we took their skills. It's like, okay, that's your main customer. They're driving all this infrastructure.
Yep.
Let's take
they're
those
paying
resources.
to build it. Yep.
They're paying to build it in essence. Let's take that and what do we build out with it? And we built Tech Restore Wholesale. And that became our parts division, where before we sold parts and these companies kind of came out and said, hey, can you get us these parts? Yes, we'll do this. We'll do this. But it led us to building an entirely different division of the company that often generated more revenue than the repair division or the refurbishment or the reselling division, those parts, the wholesale parts, and used all those resources. So when the time came, when Circuit City closed up or when Radio Shack closed up, well, we had hundreds of other, maybe smaller clients.
Yeah, but that's the best.
It's the best. Yeah. And I would argue maybe they're better because they don't beat you up on profit, on margins, and
they don't have the
terms.
leverage to.
They don't have a leverage. When you have a 1,000-pound gorilla telling you, yeah, we're going to bring you millions of dollars worth of business, but here's the prices that we can pay, and we want to pay you in 60 days, right? Instead of that kind of thing. So it's an opportunity when you have these big clients, communicate with your team and talk about what would happen if they were gone tomorrow. What would happen? What would we do? Okay, let's take that exercise. Let's take it even further. What do we do now? So if they disappeared 6 months from now, or whatever, 3 months, we would all still be here, and we could use all these resources that we have, that we've developed. And we had to get ISO 9001 certified, and all these resources that we had allocated for these clients, and it turned into a great business. And even after they all disappeared, that company, that division in our company it was so profitable. It was amazing.
I love that. Yeah. I've always said that if you give me the choice of having one client that's going to pay me $20,000 or 20 clients that are each going to pay me $1,000, I will choose plan B every time. It's a little more customer service headache in theory, and maybe in practice too. But in both cases, I know one thing is true. At least one client is going to go away. And when it's
absolutely right.
When it's the $20,000, well, you can do the math, right?
Yes.
So, all right. So I loved our, what's going on there? I love that sound. The double sounds. Love that. That's fun. I loved our conversation about the age of personalization almost as much as I love the double sounds. But I think our big takeaway is answering the question, what would happen if your biggest customer disappeared tomorrow? Because like you said, changes aren't permanent, but change is. I mean, you didn't say that.
Yes.
Professor Peart said that, but that's what you meant. And I think preparing for that can serve your business very, very well.
Yeah, it's a great exercise.
That's my vote for the
I would agree. I think it's a great takeaway, and I think it's a discussion you should have with your team.
No matter what.
No matter what. Not that, hey, we're paranoid and we're about losing this customer. No.
It's not paranoia. This is practical.
Yes, very practical. What do we do? What would happen if this occurred, and how would we respond?
How would we respond? Yeah.
When you get all that good data from your team, then you go, well, what if we just built that now? How would it impact our business, and what other opportunities? So that's what we're going to dig into on our business plan.
Business blueprints.
Business blueprint. Thank you. Which you can get. It'll be uploaded after this episode at businessbrain.show/blueprint. You can grab it for free.
It's true. He said businessbrain.show/blueprint. Make sure to visit that. And do me a favor. Keep living that charmed life, huh? We'll see you Friday.
See ya.